And welcome everybody to another 12 o'clock show with Mayor Joe. Joining me today is Truro Township Trustee Pat Mahaffey.
Hi, Joe.
Thanks for coming in today. We appreciate it. It's got a lot of things to go over today, but we're going to really kind of jump right in. And for everybody out there watching, what exactly is a Township Trustee? What do they do?
Nobody really knows.
Okay, that's good. Fair enough.
Township's the oldest form of government in Ohio and in a lot of states. But as it got annexed into cities, such as Reynoldsburg, it gets depleted. So one of the things, the major thing that's left for Truro Township is the fire department. So we maintain the fire department for 80% of Reynoldsburg. The only place that we're not really in our jurisdiction is Licking in Fairfield County, parts of Reynoldsburg. But we do a lot of mutual aid, shared services in those areas too. So we're out there in all Reynoldsburg. But there's a few roads that we have to maintain, and then there's also the Silent Home Cemetery that's right there on 256. Mm-hmm. So other townships may have more duties. We don't have zoning. Other townships have zoning. Some townships still have police. Mm-hmm. But as cities, like I said, have taken over those services, that it's taken away the responsibilities of the townships.
Okay. Well, I know you talked a little bit about the boundaries. So obviously, the Franklin County part of Reynoldsburg is under yours. Is there anything outside of Franklin or outside of Reynoldsburg that's also part of Truro Township? But don't you have something over by? Is it Independence Village or something like that as well?
Not Independence. It's
somewhere in there
near the city of Bryce.
Okay.
There's 450 houses that basically are bordered by Chatterton and Refugee and Fleet roads in that area over there.
Okay. So I know it's kind of an expanded area. Now, you mentioned the fire department kind of falls under your jurisdiction. What are some of the biggest challenges that the fire department faces on a regular basis? What are some of the things that you see in your position as their challenges?
Well, the biggest challenge for the fire department, and that's been the same ever since I started 22 years ago, is the safety of the fire personnel. Of course, safety of the people in Reynoldsburg comes first, but the safety of our men and women that are in the fire service. That's the biggest challenge. I mean, we find out things all the time. A few years ago, we found out the turnout gear was retaining some carcinogens and causing cancer. And so these are things that we really don't know about. There's other things that come up from time to time that we have to keep up on top of, that as the technology changes, we find these things out. I think one of the biggest issues today is probably something that everybody is going through, is the city and the everybody, is behavioral health. It seems like we are experiencing more and more of that. And I know you're going to ask me about your new hire in there, so I'll wait for you to. I'll talk more about that if you want to go ahead and ask that question.
Yeah, we'll pop right into it. Obviously, the city's brought on a social worker and has done a lot of things, and I know they want to partner with the township as far as your medical, your representative, your half of everything. So why don't you talk a little bit about how you think those two entities can work together and what Sarah has done, because she's been on the show before too. So,
yeah, we love Sarah. Sarah's great. She's really dedicated, and because of the behavioral health and that was a piece of that. It's called community paramedic, and she identifies people that maybe need other help. It's not necessary for them to call 911, but they still need help, and she identifies those people. But sometimes when she goes, we find out there's a behavioral issue there, so that's what we were excited about, the fact that the city has hired somebody. Fire chief was part of that process, I know, and he really likes the person you hired and thinks that it'll be a great asset to not only the city but to us as well.
Well, we're looking forward to it. We hope to kind of grow the program. Melissa is going to be on our show in just a couple of weeks. We didn't want to put her right on right after she got hired because, you know, she's trying to create an entire program from scratch.
Right.
Now, obviously, that's not the only way that we're partnering. You know, we are, through the America Recovers Act, we went ahead and put in for the Opticom safety system. So that way, for those of you at home watching, this is where the fire department will actually be able to have some sort of a device on their units, so that all the lights can go green as they're moving to and from a direction, specifically starting off on Main Street, and then we'll extend it to some of the other areas as the years go on. Have you had any chance to talk with anybody on your side of things as far as, you know, the benefits of that for the fire department? And are you going to take one of those and put them in your car so you can always get the green lights when you're driving? Because that's been offered. I didn't know if that was something was going to
I don't
happen.
pay attention to green lights anyway.
Oh, there we go. All right, there we go.
No, yeah, we've been talking about it for quite a while. It would be a great asset for us to be able to get through traffic without, you know, a lot of people, they got earbuds in and they got their music turned up and they can't hear us coming, as loud as that is. And, you know, the biggest issue for emergency service is timing. You know, how quick can we get there?
Mm-hmm.
If you can't breathe or your kitchen's on fire, you want us there as quickly as possible. And so we try to accomplish that. The Opticon system, which will allow us to go through the streets a lot quicker, will really help. Violet Township has it already,
Mm-hmm.
and other jurisdictions as well. So the good thing about Opticon is the other jurisdictions have the same thing. So, and like I said, we do mutual aid down into Violet Township, and they do aid here. So when that system becomes active, then they'll be able to utilize it as well.
Well, I know we're looking to expand it in the future. You know, perhaps you've seen on social media conversations about the 5-way and a potential roundabout there at some point in time. I don't know if you've seen that or not. You know, that's going to be a consideration that'll be looked to in the future. Is how does it impact, you know, fire safety? How does it impact, you know, the trucks getting from one place to another? And then obviously Bryce Road in that area, which kind of borders the Columbus side, so to try and go through the jurisdictional stuff. So those will be a couple of fun things to talk about. Now, you do have a levy coming up this November, correct? So
Yes.
you want to tell everybody at home, because I know, you know, obviously we spent a lot of time talking about the school bond issue and the importance of that, but I want to give you the opportunity to explain, you know, what the levy is for the fire department and how it's going to impact our residents.
Well, actually, it's a 5-year levy that is expiring. So we're asking for a renewal, but we've also reduced it by 40%.
Okay.
So it's going to take, it's just less than $30 per $100,000 of home value per year. So it's going down to that. It was, like I said, 40% higher than that before.
Is that because of the property values in the city have gone up so dramatically over the last few years?
Well, that has a little bit to do with it, but it really doesn't have anything to do with the reduction.
Yeah.
The fact that it is expiring means we don't get the money anymore.
Yeah.
So we're asking for that. It'll be just for the next 5 years. And one of the main things we'd like to do is build a new maintenance building. We have a lot of vehicles at the cemetery that sit outside during the winter.
Mm-hmm.
And people probably don't know much about a burial, but I had to learn that. And so when, if you're in the wintertime and you dig a hole for a grave, and while you're waiting for the body to be placed there, the dirt sits in a truck. And if it freezes, you can't put it back in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always, you know, a little bit difficult for us to do that. We pulled it into one of the bays in the fire station before, and, you know, to try to keep it warm enough to use. And also diesels don't respond well if they've been sitting out in freezing temperature. It's kind of hard to start a diesel truck up. So we have a Bobcat, we got mowers. I mean, there's a lot of things. But the good thing is we have, when we built station number 2 on Livingston Avenue, we purchased 5 acres there. And the building there uses less than half of that. And I know we partnered with the city. We have a garden down there, but there's still plenty of room back there. It's full of trees. We'd have to clear cut all those trees, and that's where I'd like to put a building, is back there. And it could, the fire being right there, then the fire department could use it as well. Mm. We put our administrative offices in there, and the fire department has some things that they could use it for too. So that's the main reason.
Okay. Well, I know we've, I've talked to a couple of, the chief and the assistant chief, and we've worked together. We've had a couple of property purchases in the city, and I know that they use the, Happy Dragon for some training exercise. There's another house that's going to be demolished in the next couple of weeks that I know we're working with them, so that way your team can train out in that area as well. So we're happy to kind of get that continuation partnership. It's a lot easier when you have stuff to break and get into, in almost a real life situation without actually having to go in that kind of thing. So we're always looking to partner as best we can with that.
We trained down at the Kmart too before it was torn down, and that was nice because it's commercial property. So we don't get much opportunity to do that in a large space like that. And then recently we were over, I don't know if people are aware of that, all those doubles that are over at Broad and Hamilton Roads.
Okay.
Yeah, they shut those down a few years ago, and they're boarded up, and they're getting ready to tear them down. And there was a big jurisdictional training there with a lot of jurisdictions, and we were a part of that. Got to go over there and do some training with other departments. So.
That's good, because it's I would imagine it would be hard to actually get some kind of like almost lifestyle training in an environment like that.
It is. Have you been out to the fire marshals?
Yes.
Yeah, well, they have some simulated things there, and I actually went through that. They have, for elected officials, you can go in there and put on the gear and simulate going through a smoky building and dragging a body out and getting up on the ladder and spraying things with the hoses. I'd like to say it was a lot of fun, but what it really did was made me appreciate what they do.
Yeah. All of our first responders are incredibly important. We always want to do what we can to support the fire department and the police department. So I do have a couple of questions from a resident, and then if there are any that have come up online. So sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So the first question is, what are your plans for Truro Township moving forward? I mean, obviously you talked a little bit about some sort of covered parking and kind of a maintenance facility. Is there anything else that you're looking to do?
Well, I'd say, the main focus for me and why I have continued to stay there for the last 22 years, and I'm not saying I'm going to run again, but, the fire chief has made me promise that, but, because he's going to be there, after my next election or when I'll be up for election in 2 years. So I will consider it, but I mean, 2 years is a long time, and I've been doing it for a while, and so I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. But I really enjoy it. I mean, what better job is there than to work for the fire department? You know what I mean? Everybody loves a firefighter. You want them, like I said, showing up at your door when you need them, and so it's gives me great satisfaction. And our men and women are great. We just, because of the pandemic, all this week we were at last week we had promotions and hiring swearings in, which is something I've always liked to do. Being the chair of the board, I get to stand up and swear new people in and get to promote people, and yeah, I love doing that. And because of the pandemic, we didn't do it, so we had we had a battalion chief retire, so everybody moves up, so you got a lieutenant and a battalion chief and an assistant chief. Everybody moves up the ladder, and then you got to hire a couple of new people. So we had them all in, and their families came, and which is something that I really like to do. And then there was also 2 live fire events where our people actually saved somebody. A whole squad back in Briarcliff saved somebody in a burning house back there, and then one of our other firefighters was actually a guy that I coached in Little League, and he came upon a a building, and I want to say it was either Whitehall or Columbus. I can't remember where it was. But he came on as a support engine, heard on there that somebody was stranded several floors up at the back, and he jumped up and grabbed a ladder and put it up, and then got a ladder and put it up the next floor and went up there and got the guy out. So to me, that's the best part of the job, you know.
Well, you've been on for a long time, and so the next question just talks about some of the other accomplishments. Obviously, I would think probably the 2 new firehouses would be pretty big things just in general.
Yeah.
It's also asking a question, has being on your homeowners association, which are very few of in Reynoldsburg, but being on the board of directors help you prepare in any way for being on the Truro Township as a trustee?
I think it's the opposite. I think being a township trustee prepared me for that job. I think I took that job in 05 or 06, something like that, when I moved into Park at Wagner, and then M.I. Holmes turned the homeowners association over to the residents, and I volunteered for that. I'm in real estate, so I'm well versed on what a neighborhood should look like and what happens when it doesn't look like it should. So I always wanted to be on that board, and we're having an election coming up on Monday.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm going to run again, and I've got a hand-selected board there, and they're going to run again too. Nobody wants to do that job anyway.
I don't know what I mean. I don't know what you're talking about.
Nobody wants to go down there and have your neighbors yelling at you about the color of their mailboxes. You know what I mean? It's a little bit of a thankless job, but like I said, it can really go south in a nice neighborhood really quick.
Well, we've had a couple conversations with members of the homeowners association in that general area. We've talked about speed tables and speed bumps and things of that nature to control, people speeding way too much, people running stop signs, those types of things. So, any questions online or anything?
No.
All right. Well, you made it.
So
through
nobody even watched.
They're watching.
No, they're watching. They just
didn't ask any questions.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate you coming in.
All right,
I know
Joe.
you've got some things you got to take care of today, unfortunately. But we do appreciate you coming in.
All right, Joe. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Take care.
All right, everybody, kind of move around a little bit here, and we'll kind of move on. We've got a couple of updates. The first one is going to be with a meeting that we had for the Army Corps of Engineers to deal with some of the flooding issues that we've talked about. We had a meeting with them earlier this week, and we have another one scheduled actually for tomorrow or Friday morning. And what we're going to do is we're going to engage with the Army Corps of Engineers to do a study of the entire area so they can kind of get an idea of what Reynoldsburg is dealing with and the best solutions for it. They did say, however, that depending on what the data shows after the survey is complete, that they kind of agreed with what FEMA and some of the other directors had said at our town hall, that dredging of Blacklick Creek is probably not going to be the best option, probably will not happen. But they did talk about some other things that are out there. The process is relatively long and it is relatively expensive, but the city is obviously going to put forth money because we need to figure out what's going on. We need to figure out what's going on and how to stop it. But that doesn't mean that's the only thing we're doing. That just means that we're moving with the Army Corps of Engineers to kind of do that comprehensive review for that process. So stay tuned here. For those of you that are on the mailing list for that particular issue, please make sure you pay attention. We will send those updates as often as we can. We do have some America Recovers Act money information. We did talk about the Opticom system with Trustee Mahaffey, but we're going to continue. That's going to be combined with traffic synchronization on Main Street. So not only will the fire trucks have the ability to kind of go green all the way through, the lights themselves are actually going to be synced up to allow for easier traffic flow from basically Wagner Road to Bryce Road. So that way we can get people from anywhere out to go to 270 in the mornings and then coming into Reynoldsburg in the evenings when people are returning home. So we're going to be moving forward with that. They'll start their traffic study in a couple of weeks when some of the truck construction stuff clears up a little bit on Main Street, enough to get a really good idea of the traffic in the area. We also have the Hill Road Cemetery. Surveyors are going to start out probably today, tomorrow, and in the next day to kind of survey the area and start getting some designs about some fencing along the area. This is the cemetery again on Wagner Road, so that'll be going on. And the sidewalk program on Graham Road that Councilman Kristen Bryant has been very much an advocate for. This would be a sidewalk that would go from Palmer all the way to basically all the way to the 5-way on Graham Road. That survey is they had a meeting on that actually 2 days ago, and the survey data is out with them, with our engineering company and Franklin County, because they're going to be working on part of the pedestrian access part of the bridge. But the next step is to get that together and hopefully get some of that project started before the end of this year. So that's some of that America Recovers Act dollars, helping kind of the city of Reynoldsburg with infrastructure and flow. Also want to mention that there's still time to nominate an award winner for the Mel Clemens Service Award. I know I've submitted a nomination. We'll see if who else did. And if nobody else does, then the person I selected wins, and that'll be great. But if you're interested in that, you can check on the webpage or on our Facebook page for Parks and Recreation. We also are in one of my favorite months of the year. It's October, which means Halloween. So we do have our Halloween trick-or-treat night, which is going to be Thursday, October 28th from 6 to 8 p.m. Rain, snow, sleet, hail, everything. It's going to happen that day, so make sure you plan everything accordingly. This is the same that's going to be in all the communities surrounding Central Ohio. It's something that's been very consistent. So again, October 28th on that Thursday night from 6 to 8 p.m. Hopefully everybody can go home and watch The Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown later on PBS. Did want to congratulate the Raider Marching Pride on a wonderful weekend, best auxiliary, and they got some other great ratings, and they're on continuing to improve as they get ready to go to the state finals later this month. Once we have a date, we'll announce it. Love to have as many members of the communities come out and cheer them on as they're on their way to wherever the state championships may be. We do have a couple of town halls coming up as well. We've got, sponsored by the Reynoldsburg Police Department, the city, and the school district, will be at Baldwin Road Middle School on October 13th from 6 to 8 p.m. 7 p.m. And so we're going to be there having a great conversation about the safety in the community in general. It's not just for that area of town. However, that is the focus this time around. We hope to kind of move it around throughout all of Reynoldsburg, but it's a great partnership all the way across. To have those conversations. I'm sure council members will be there. I'll be there, the police department, but we need to have those conversations again to continue to find ways to bring our community closer together. We do have our community cleanup day on October 16th. It's going to be part at JFK and part actually at Huber Park, a little bit of an adjustment. We've got hazardous material bulk, and bulk is going to be over at Huber Park, but your proper flag disposal, pill disposal, bike donation, and of course the most important part, the shredded truck, that's going to be here at JFK, and that's going to be from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at JFK and at Huber Park, so we've got that. While we're doing that, the high school swim team from Reynoldsburg is going to be doing a cash drop on October 16th in all the usual places, the 5-way, Livingston and Bryce, Rose Hill and Main Street, things like that, so keep an eye out for them. A couple weeks after that, the Diamond Club for the baseball team will be out doing the same thing, so keep your eyes out for those. Always a great way to support your local athletic groups. We also have our Community Association Halloween event at JFK from 6 to 9 on that same day for the 16th, so you can get rid of all of your paper and your electronic equipment that you don't want to use, and then go home, get changed up, and all Halloween ready for our community festival there. We also have the Parks and Rec Family Halloween Costume Dance Party on October 21st. It's from 6:30 to 8 p.m. This is a registration only, so only got a couple more days to register, but it's fun for the whole family. I'm sure there'll be some great pictures there that you can get together of a family in a themed costume and things like that. But registration's only open through October 8th. After that, we have our Spooky Pooch Parade, October 23rd at Huber Park from 1 to 4. So Halloween's not just for us adults and humans, they're also for kids and animals. So come on out, dress up your favorite animals out in Huber Park. Cats, dogs, everything. We're all going to be welcoming at Huber Park for that, so we look forward to having everybody out there. And we do have our official Tomato Festival for 2022 dates, and we're going to announce those right here. It's going to be August 11th, 12th, and 13th. And we think we've got rides for next year. More, stay tuned on that one, but we'll get that out there. But we'll have our rides in there. Right now it's in the hands of the attorneys, so we know how much fun that can be. But the attorneys are going all over those contracts, but we'll be able to announce that as well. Our volunteer meetings will kick back up again in January, so keep an eye out for that so we can get people to kind of join in and volunteer. There's always a lot of great suggestions out on Facebook. Love to have you come into City Hall and tell us all those great ideas and help work to make them a reality so we can make this next year's Tomato Festival a great thing, so we're looking forward to that. Got some good development news today as well. A long-standing thing has been worked on between Councilwoman Kristen Bryant and Councilman Stacey Baker. They originally reached out a couple years ago to the city of Columbus to convert and alter the stormwater facility on Bryce Road into a park. And so now it looks like all those legal obstacles and everything has been done. So shout out to Councilman Stacey Baker and Councilwoman Kristen Bryant for that. And you're going to see the very first picture of what Bryce Park's going to look like. So again, we'll have more information as we get a little bit closer, but basically this is what we've got here. There we go. Bryce Park, this is that stormwater area that's not too far off on Bryce, across from where the current library is. But there's going to be some walking paths, obviously some benches, gazebos, and things like that, because obviously we want to make sure that we maintain as much green space as possible in the city of Reynoldsburg, and this is going to be a great opportunity to kind of convert an area that doesn't always look fresh and happy and all of that, and now you're going to have an opportunity to do that, which will go great with the brand new library that will be going in across the street. We should have some pictures of what that's going to look like in the next couple of weeks. But you can walk from the library, go across, and you've got some water there. You can enjoy a picnic, do a nice little walking trail all the way around that as we continue to improve all of Bryce Road. So we've got that going on. We also have a couple of updates as far as some of the land acquisitions. We're going to be very proud to announce on Monday that we've actually going to be going ahead and getting into a letter of intent with Daimler Group, which will actually be purchasing about 5 acres of land across from the field from the cemetery, out of the original entire property that's there, and they're going to be working with a major medical provider to come in and bring in some great jobs into the city of Reynoldsburg. But we've got that in there, and after some pretty good negotiations, we've got a great deal for it. So I hope you're able to tune in on Monday for that, so we can go ahead and get that off our plates. But it's going to be a great opportunity, and keep your ears open, because we have some other things scheduled for the other side of that property coming up in the next couple of weeks. So keep your ears open right here live on the 12 o'clock show with Mayor Joe. You'll probably hear some good information about that. We also are waiting and working with the new, what will go in at the Happy Dragon location. The former Happy Dragon location has actually been torn down, as we all know, but it's going to be a brand new facility. It's going to be great. We're going to have a couple of different options in there, including it's probably going to be a 2-floor building. You're going to have a dentist office. You're going to have some resident or retail. You're going to have a coffee shop and an ice cream shop and some other cool things in there. We're just trying to figure out what best fits into that particular location. So we're waiting to get those engineering drawings back. But again, that'll also come off our books in the not too distant future. And so next year, we're going to be able to meet at the new place. I'm thinking of calling it the parking lot, because I think that would be fun. That's just my own little sense of humor on that. I know a lot of people think it's going to be a parking lot. It's not going to be. It's going to be a great attraction for everybody. But I think we're going to call it the parking lot for short. But I hope to meet you out there so we can share an ice cream or grab a cup of coffee. And then the automotive shop that's also there, also we're kind of catty-cornered to that. We're going to be, council has been asked to purchase that one, and then that'll be demoed probably in the next 6 weeks or so, and then we're going to put out a request for proposals to see exactly what's in the best model into that location. But we're working on a lot of different things as well, so we've got that going on. Any questions at all so far?
Yeah, we did have a question. It says it wants to know if we can take batteries to the hazardous material day, and I looked it up online. And yes, you can. And if you go to our Facebook page, we have an event created for it, and it has all of the acceptable and unacceptable items that you can bring. So be sure to check that out.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and you don't have to come in costume in the morning part, but definitely if you're coming back for the Halloween festival later in the day, yeah, you do. Any other questions?
Nope, not this time.
All right. Our next Fireside Chat is going to be 1 week from today at 12 o'clock on the 13th, and we're going to welcome somebody that nobody's heard from before. It's kind of a behind-the-scenes look at the world of Reynoldsburg City Schools. We're going to have Chris Reed is going to come in. He is actually the Executive Director of Business, so he's going to come and talk a little bit about how the bond issue might impact his side of the world, not necessarily the day-to-day, the teacher operations, but the facilities management and things like that. And I'm pretty sure he's going to ask anybody watching to apply to be a bus driver. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So if you're out there and you're interested, I'm sure you can reach out to the school district and be a bus driver. They are amazing people that have more patience than anyone I've ever met. But it's a great opportunity if you're looking for something out there. Beyond that, that's what we've got going on today. I again like to thank Truro Township Trustee Pat Mahaffey for joining us today. It was a great opportunity to hear a little bit more about our side for the government in terms of the trustee and how they do things. And it's always great to cooperate with our fire department. Again, we're all in this together between the fire, police, the community, and the city, and the school district. So it's about building those bridges and opening up those things to help each other out and support. So I look forward to that moving on as we go forward. Again, everybody else, enjoy the last few nice days we have before the fall becomes a little bit too cold and winter sets in. But stay safe, stay respectful, and as always, please make sure you put away your shopping carts. It's not that hard. Please just do it. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you soon.